Nice. Okay. So, um, would you say that your job also consists a lot of copywriting, and how important would exactly that be for a brand?
Yeah, so there's really three elements to it. And actually, just to like frame this up kind of correctly, let's I want to talk a little bit about like economic theory, if that's
Sure.
okay.
Yeah, absolutely, man. The floor is all yours. Please feel free to go do so.
We'll start high order, and then I'll bring it back down to how to effectively market a brand.
Okay.
So, if you are under the age of 40, you have been part of an economic experiment your entire life. Um, that experiment is called neoliberalism,
Mm,
neoliberal economic policy. And basically, what that means is it's an economic theory centered around the question, what if corporations made the rules? And that's kind of what we've been experiencing for the last 35, 40 years. Started with Margaret Thatcher in the UK. Ronald Reagan then kind of adopted these same policies. The policies kind of more specifically being like, well, if corporations made the rules, what if the rich kind of were in charge of society? What rules would they place? Well, they would say we need tax cuts on the rich,
mhm,
obviously. We need to deregulate industries and get rid of all of these like annoying kind of safety measures and all of these kind of guardrails. We need to privatize all of these kind of common assets like the electricity grid. Why should the government be like a private company could be owning that and like getting the wealth of that? People have to buy it. That's a captive market that you have there. That's amazing.
mhm.
So utilities, transportation, all of this stuff like that should be in private hands. And basically the narrative was, well, we need to like free the economy from the stranglehold of government and put it out into an open field and let the free market decide, right? um, there was no like evidence that this actually made society better. It just kind of made the rich richer, and it funneled wealth like from the middle class to the upper class. The real kind of like nail in the coffin for this as well was Bill Clinton, who kind of like was elected as like a leftist kind of person, came in, looked at these economic policies, and said, "Yeah, that looks good to me." And ever since then, both left and right, or at least right and center left
Mhm.
parties across the world have differed on social issues of like, should gay people be allowed to get married? Should trans people exist? But they've very much agreed on like what is the economic theory that we are going to ascribe ourselves by. And this is why we've seen in the 1950s where between 1950 and 1960, 4% of the new wealth created in that decade went to the top 10%, and 96% went to the bottom 90%. From the years 2009 to 2019, 93% of the new wealth created in that decade went to the top 10%, and
That's
7% was
crazy.
left for the rest of us to kind of fight over, right? And so, what does this mean for your listeners? Well, it means that there is no middle class anymore. That is
Mhm.
gone. Um, and it's not coming back, at least not in our lifetimes, I suspect. What it means is that you need to become independently wealthy to lead a somewhat comfortable life. You need to be aiming to be in that top 10%. And you won't get into that top 10% by working for someone else.
Mhm.
You need to be accruing capital. It's called capitalism, not laborism. You cannot win by performing labor. So you need to be accruing capital by building a product that people want, that solves a problem or fulfills a desire. And you need to be capturing the wealth created from that product or service for yourself. It is the only way. So, what does this have to do with marketing? Well, it means that you need to get very, very, very good at marketing, and you need to start taking it very, very seriously. It is not fun and games. Marketing kind of has this kind of arts and crafts kind of fun kind of energy to it. It's not fun. It's deadly serious, and it's
Mhm.
deeply urgent that you not only understand product market fit, but you also understand message market fit. And what I do in my business is help companies, brands get to message market fit. As in, what is the message that makes sense for our market? And then how do we get that in front of them as much as possible? So from here, we can either kind of probably go in two directions, and I'll leave it up to you to decide. I can kind of walk you through like what is my process for like finding what the message, what the angle should be for a brand, or you can kind of ask me questions and we can kind of deep dive into like specific things. I'll let me know which
Yeah,
avenue you'd prefer.
no, I would definitely like to hear your thought process of behind like everything that you do, and obviously from there, I think we could deep dive into a little bit more specifics.
Sure.
You brought up great points with the whole economic theory as well of about the entire neoliberalism because that's a lot of what I see here in the states, especially the one point that really hit home was the privatization of the energy sector. At least here in the state of Texas,
Mm.
um, we have the energy sector. It's completely privatized now by this company named ERCOT,
Mm.
and because of that, whenever we had some snowstorms, they literally just really messed a lot of people over just because of they couldn't keep the grid on anymore, just
Yeah.
because they were just
Yeah.
overflowing because we're not connected to the national grid anymore.
Right.
And that literally that literally ties into the theory and it goes all the way back to Ronald Reagan and Bill Clinton as well. So yeah, but
Totally.
anyways, I digress from my